Anyways, welcome back, hot dogs and donuts. Y'all already know what time it is. It's Super Saturday. I'm ready to talk about this since the new information came out. Shout to and have established a system on checking their references. I appreciate that. That way, whenever they know that they can talk about something, I can trust them talking about it. I put in the motherfucking work and I'm talking about it. Either you shut up and listen, or you get the fuck out. You know how it goes. Well, yeah. Anyways, let's see. Let's flip this camera around. Get our laptop zoomed in, zoomed out, whatever we're gonna say it is. We're gonna need the full screen.
It's been a minute, yo. Hope y'all are having a really good day today. And I got an update video for you guys. As promised before, I wasn't going to do a video unless I had something to talk about when it comes to what's going on with Dragon Ball. And we've got some pretty interesting bits of information here. I'm going to
What up,
talk
big
in this
homie? Good
video
to see you. How you
about
doing?
the
Y'all
behind
know to
the
go check
scenes
out that big
issues
homie
between
Dallas,
Toei,
Texas
Capsule
Guns
Corp
and Cooking.
Tokyo, and
Appreciate him
Shueisha,
stopping
and
by.
what's been going on with that. We
Networking.
have new information on that, and we have a ton of new information about Super Saiyan 4 in
I ain't
Daima,
see you before I came
and
in. I ought
maybe
to stop
some
by,
hints
but
about the future
good to
of
hear.
Super
I'll come
Saiyan
by
4,
check you out if I'm
because
done.
the one that we saw in Daima that Goku used, that may not be the last time we see Goku use that, but of course, make sure you watch this video all the way to the end. That way you have all the information. I'm going to give you everything as concisely as I can. And I do want to say I hope y'all have had a good 2025. I've got some things going on that I've been working on outside of YouTube that should be cleared up by mid-October. So right around mid-October, I'm probably going to start to stream again on here and talk to you guys. I do miss talking to you guys on stream and, just chilling, and maybe play some games, and it'll be a good time. So look forward to that very, very soon. I just got to take care of some stuff that I'm working on outside YouTube. But let's talk about this update first about Capsule Corp Tokyo. So we've been under the impression that the reason as to why the Dragon Ball Super manga has not continued has been because of this behind the scenes, I guess you can say, this tug of war for the rights of Dragon Ball. Well, it seems like that issue may have been resolved or is close to being resolved very recently. We've discovered, and all credit goes to Andy, he was the first one to find this out, that Capsule Corporation Tokyo, which is the company that Akio Ioku, who is Toriyama's right-hand man, the company that he opened at Toriyama's request, because he did say that it was creator Akira Toriyama himself that wanted him to open up a company to help with creating new Dragon Ball games and new Dragon Ball anime. The company not only is in existence, but is now being credited in Dragon Ball games. Right here, you see in Sparking Zero in the credits, it says Capsule Corporation Tokyo and Akio Ioku is listed right there. That is, I think, kind of a big deal because that would mean that Capsule Corporation Tokyo will have their hand in the future of video games, and Akio wants to put out more games, and more anime. So that's his goal. So the fact that their names are already in the credits means that whatever issue they were having was close to being resolved or has been resolved. Now, there is more stuff I want to talk to you about and more stuff that Andy found, and then I want to get to out, which came out months before Sparking Zero.
Money, money.
Ioku was still this credit up here, Capsule Corporation Tokyo Akio Ioku under Capsule Corporation Tokyo. That is new because in the Sandland game he was still working under Shueisha. Remember, Akio he had a pretty important position there, and now with Gekishin Squadra, the new game coming out, there's no mention on Capsule Corp Tokyo, but they probably were involved. And then the update that we have is from the new Dragon Ball Daima Blu-ray booklet, which I'm going to get to in just a minute because we found out some interesting stuff about Super Saiyan 4. Here it actually lists Capsule Corporation Tokyo under cooperation. Copyright still goes through Bird Studio because that's Toriyama's company, Shueisha and Toei, but Capsule Corporation Tokyo is still getting a credit. So that's Akio's company, and I would expect to see them in the credits of future anime and video games. Probably not manga though. Now, what about Super Saiyan 4? Is it going to come back in the future? There's a chance it will, but how? That is the question. I want to talk to y'all about that. So credit to this goes to Griffin Station, a very talented artist. This information is coming from the Dragon Ball Daima Blu-ray home release. There's a lot of tidbits of information in this release, and one of them is an interview. There's a very extensive interview done with the creators of Daima, like Aya Komaki, the director, and people who worked on it. And we have some really interesting information about Super Saiyan 4's lore that could lead to it coming back later. And I want to get to that here. So this is the page, but I want to go to the translation. Credit to Enomis for tweeting this out originally. So this is, I'm going to go ahead and read through this. This is what they said about Super Saiyan 4, and then I will give my thoughts on this because this is important information, I think. So the question that was asked to Aya Komaki, who's the series director, the Super Saiyan 4 transformation drew huge buzz. What were the direction cues? So Aya Komaki says, in episode 18, when Goku Mini becomes Super Saiyan 4, it's a case where his ability is drawn out by Neva, so we aim for it to look not like psyching himself up, but like Neva's ability enters inside Goku Mini and blossoms inside Goku Mini. So, I want to, before I go any further, discuss that phrase blossoms, because that seems to be a word, a verb that people are confused about. Basically,
Well, I mean, for those who don't know, blossoming means that it's developing, meaning Goku already had said that he could feel another power, but he wasn't sure how to access it. So, never making his power blossom means, okay, the power's there, you just can't access it. So, we're going to develop it, aka blossom it out. You see what I'm saying? Bring it out of you. It's like nipping something in the bud without nipping it in the bud. The bud is still sitting there growing, and you give it time to grow, it's gonna, blossom. Shout out to the wordplay. You know what I'm saying? They got bars early in the morning. Bars.
if you remember in Dragon Ball Daima, remember how Goku in episode 20 said that He knew there was something more. He knew that there was a higher level of power, like he was training to kind of get to a higher form, but he was never able to actually reach it. Neva's magic was able to unlock the form and mix with Goku's DNA. And you actually visually see this in the episode. I've covered this already, but some people were skeptical. Now we have confirmation that if it wasn't for Neva's magic, he would never have gotten Super Saiyan 4, even though he was training to find something higher. It was Neva that unlocked it. That's what the director's saying right here. Basically, the magic that Neva used triggered the mutation. Now, I'm not done. There's still more information here I want to share with you because it keeps going. The interpretation is that the approach is different from when, after returning to his original form, he psychs himself up and transforms into Super Saiyan 4. He's talking about in episode 19 when Goku became an adult again and then went back into Super Saiyan 4. We're going to talk about that here in just a minute. In addition, Super Saiyan 4 carries an image of red. So we wanted to add red elements even to the Kamehameha, which is usually blue. We proceeded to cut by cut while discussing with the filming team and the animators how to add it effectively. You also have to remember that by the time they got to this episode, like when it came to like producing this episode, Toriyama had already passed away at that point. So the pre-production was done, but the actual production was after Toriyama passed. And so because of that, they couldn't even ask him for exact direction on that. Actually, there's more involving Toriyama in this interview I'm going to get to. So she goes on to say, as a result, I think it became an expression that while orthodox has originality unique to this work. As a new attempt, we also wreathed the Kamehameha in flames when Goku Mini became Super Saiyan 4. I hope people will take another look at the differences in the Kamehameha across each form. Yeah, remember, it did turn into flames, and that was awesome. I think a lot of folks wanted to see the Kamehameha times 10, the red one from GT, but I think that Aya Komaki and the animators probably figured that's maybe a bit too derivative of GT, even though I would have liked to have seen it. But Super Saiyan 4, the Daima version, is way more quote-unquote red. So basically, what this is saying is that Neva's magic was able to unlock Super Saiyan 4 in Kid Goku, right? But once Goku got a taste of it, he was able to go into it at will in episode 19. Now, what does that mean? That would mean that Daima might not be the last time that we see Super Saiyan 4. Now, a lot of folks have been talking about, well, maybe Daima's in a different canon or a different continuity than Super, but there are a few.
Well, like I've already said, with the way Toyotaro now explains it for everybody, it's like watching the Saw series, okay? If you don't know how to watch Saw, you're not watching the beginning of the series with Saw 1. You're halfway through the story, okay? You're halfway through the story. That means at the introduction of the story, it's already halfway over. That way, they have flashbacks, recalls, retcons, all type of stuff. They got to add parts of the story that didn't make sense that makes sense after you see this movie. So once you see Saw 5, we can do a flashback for Saw 6 and then blah, 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 blah. That type of time. So it's all canon, like Tori Taro says, because it's all displaced throughout the time of the story. You see what I'm saying? If you see, oh, well, Gohan's a Super Saiyan in this movie, but he doesn't have access to Super Saiyan 2, which falls back in the retrospective of it's between the cell fight and anything else. So something else happened between this and this. You see what I'm saying? So they come out the time chamber during that 9 days, and then who is it? Bojack or one of these crazy ass androids, right? Pops up. That type of story. You see what I'm saying? So it's a flashback because they didn't show you what happened on that 9 days for a reason. You know, it's called time skips. Then they go back and cover time skips with parts that would make sense for that part of the story that, you know, gives them a movie or whatever. I mean, you're overthinking it for Dragon Ball because it's a troll show. He only was making this show just to make the show because he liked what he was trolling about, right? Well, we're gonna take a journey into the East and make a show that trolls most of the topics. But you know, at some point it'll have some fights and some action, which the people will like. Shout out to monkeys fighting. People like to see monkeys fight for whatever reason. Hell, I mean, it does have appealability to people.
Contradictions. There are a few plot holes, and even the manga has contradictions, man. Like, Dragon Ball's got those everywhere. It doesn't mean that there's a separate canon or anything like that. Not necessarily. It depends on how you want to look at it. But the reality is that we, as of right now, don't have a direct reason as to why Goku became Super Saiyan 4, at the very least during his first fight with Beerus. In the manga version of Battle of Gods, he straight up tells Beerus that Super Saiyan 3 is his strongest form. He says that to Beerus in the manga version. Now, that is not in the movie version, which Akira Toriyama co-wrote. So the movie version has the most Toriyama in it. And it's not in the anime version that Toei went back and redid. Toriyama was not involved in the anime version of Battle of Gods and Resurrection F. All the stuff that they added was all Toei. All of it was Toei. So, but in none of those did they say that 3 was, Goku didn't say it was his most powerful form, so they could kind of get out of it, right, by explaining that it wasn't, or by just later on saying, well, you know, for some reason, he can't use Super Saiyan 4 anymore. They haven't revealed why. I don't know why. I'm hoping that when Toyotaro gets the pen again, and when Super continues, they figure out.
Well, I already know they're gonna retcon that part about okay, yeah, Neva gave him the access, which explains why when he did turn an adult that he could still access it because he was still in the presence of the demon world or whatever. Boom. So since we're not in the demon world, the atmosphere wasn't to where I could do it without having my tail back now. So now they're gonna to have a reason to get their tails back. That's all it is. It's a setup. They make you ask questions because it's a setup. So when they do come back, they got something to answer to, right? It's a setup for what's fitting to happen. Well, Vegeta's been sitting on a rock for those that haven't been paying attention, figuring out how he can get stronger, okay, and be more efficient. Well, then he's gonna remember. Well, technically I've been healed plenty of times since I've been fighting and shit, but my tail has never come back. Which I'm the Saiyan Prince. I need that thing. You see what I'm saying? And then that might help me with that Super Saiyan 4 thing that hasn't seemed to been present in Super. Boom, easy answer right there. Boom, easy, easy. If y'all don't see that part, I'll see it for you.
Some kind of way to either bring Super Saiyan 4 back, even though the God forms are more powerful. There's no reason to use Super Saiyan 4 anymore unless they fight some type of villain that is immune to God Ki or something like that. In which case, then they would have to maybe rely on regular Ki, and that's when people like Broly, Beast Gohan, and Super Saiyan 4 would be useful in those instances. So that's just an idea that I had. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but that would be one way to make it happen to where it could still make sense. It's just weird that this takes place 3 years before Beerus met Goku, and they have plenty of time to tell a story during those 3 years, but will they? That's the problem, is right now, even if Toyotaro starts writing Super again soon, he might not even want to revisit this stuff. He might want to go forward with something else. Don't forget that in Super, Goku is still trying to unlock the angel version of Ultra Instinct. Him and Vegeta are still training together, so that's still a work in progress for those later forms. So here's a few more highlights from the Aya Komaki interview. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to read the entire interview. I'm just going to highlight things that I think you guys would be most interested in. Real quick, Aya Komaki is asked about her initial reactions to Toriyama's original plot and story, and this is where it's revealed that, and I was talking to you guys about this when I first revealed Dragon Ball Magic all the way back in September of 2020. Was it 2023? I think it was, right around then. Yeah, it was 2023 when it was still referred to as Dragon Ball Magic. Then in October it was revealed as being Dragon Ball Daima. And one of the things I had talked about is that unlike the other Dragon Ball anime shows, OG Dragon Ball Z, GT, Super, Toriyama would be involved in Daima more than shows because he was actually supervising and writing scripts for each episode, something he had not done for Super or even the old Dragon Ball. He was writing the manga back then, not the anime. But here, Komaki does reveal that Toriyama, I mean, right there, it says the dialogue was written down to the last detail. So Toriyama, this is the most, Daima, like it or not, and some don't like it, and I understand why, is the most Toriyama anime that we've gotten. Like the most
Which for the people that don't like Daima, that's the reason why they don't really like Daima, because he was trolling the whole fucking series. Shouts out to the master troll. I mean, hell, that's what he came to do.
Toriyama, the anime with the most Toriyama involvement as far as like what he actually did, because he was in when it came to like at least the scripting part, like the story part. Visually, that went to the, and Toriyama drew things. Obviously, there's art there that he drew, concept art, but like visually, the anime team was given more freedom. You know what I mean? They were given, they were able to spice things up. And right here in this other question, they were asked about, you know, what kind of exchange did you have with Toriyama and Akio? And I want you guys to know, I've talked about this before, the way Toriyama worked with, like, the anime staff or with Toyotaro or whomever is through email. Toriyama did a lot of his stuff through email. His art that he submits for the video games and for the shows and the movies, that's all done via email. Toriyama does not go to Toei offices. I don't think he's been there in maybe decades. So it's all done through email, and they reveal that we received detailed guidance, not only episode by episode, but scene by scene. So, once again, Daima has the most Toriyama involvement of any of the animes.
The one thing I did like about one of the skill sets he gave the Majins, because as it says, Majins are Majin. They are not the same beings as humans. Meaning, yes, each Majin has its own specific sets of powers and abilities. So therefore, you got to remember they also all share the same powers and abilities. So some of them might be absorbing shit, and some of them might not be. So let's see. Cool's got the fucking Cyberman look, so he might have the brain acid ability, or that might just be how he absorbs. He spits his acid on you, and that absorbs you. So that would suck. Cause hold on, there's some things to come about Cool, right? Shouts out to the big homie, cause you know in his video he had Kiwi become the new demon world king last episode, and I said that in the comments. I said now we're gonna need a Kiwi versus Majin Ku fight. But that's just me speculating and drawing shit to a fight. Hell, I ain't gonna animate it, so I'll write it, but I won't animate it, right?
So the last piece of information is something that I actually revealed on Twitter first, and actually I've told you guys this too, but really confirms this information I'm going to give you right here. So what I wrote was, when Daima was being released, originally it was called Dragon Ball Magic. You guys should already know that. Very early decided that they'd bring back Super Saiyan 4. very early. Akio loves to do fan favorite stuff like Broly, Trunks, and Gohan getting Beast and all that. I've talked about that before on this channel about how producer Akio Ioku, he's the one that suggested Broly come back and be rewritten. He's the one that suggested that Gohan be made the main character of superhero. He's the one that kind of does the homework of what fans respond to and tries to pitch it that Super Saiyan 4 is one of those things that he wanted to bring back, and that's really like a big reason as to why Daima came out the way that it did. Why it even existed was to justify this new Super Saiyan 4, to figure out a way to bring that form back. Now, obviously, I know a lot of you guys, I've seen the comments, a lot of you guys wish that, like, Broly got that form, you know, or something like that. And maybe he will. I mean, who knows? Maybe Goku will show him that form someday, and maybe it fits him better. I couldn't even tell you. That could still happen. But Daima was for sure like the second thing after they realized they wanted to make an anime and it was going to be an adventure type story. Super Saiyan 4 was right like the next thing, because that was the big surprise, the big highlight near the end. The one thing that I myself did not reveal publicly until it happened, even though I had seen it, was Super Saiyan 4. That was their big thing, and now we have Super Saiyan 4 in the video games. Sparky Zero just got it, so the Daima version. But I got a lot more videos on the new Super Saiyan 4. When I get a bit more information, I'll have that completely done, and you'll have all the information here. And also, like I said, stay tuned for upcoming live streams. Leave a comment. Let me know what your 2025 was like and what you thought about all this information. I love you. Take care of yourself and each other, and I'll see you soon.
Man, don't even worry about it. You're an animal. Let's get something to eat. See how every time Gohan is on that self-sabotage, Goku just say he's not a good father. Come on, bro. I don't want to hear it.
Stronger than he was even before, to the point where he could hold up Mount Sumeru on just one shoulder, which basically equaled out to holding up the infinite cosmic sky. Wukong was able to reach perfection on his journey, entering into the incomplete nirvana, which is boundless reality beyond everything, beyond all concepts and limitations. It's above the God realms and the formless realms, which those two realms were already above physicality and dimensions. So we're talking about like true outer-versal stuff here. And it doesn't stop there, because at the end of his journey, Sun Wukong was brought before the Buddha again. And this time, he transcended into the complete nirvana, which made him even more powerful.
I'm about to roll up another blunt. That motherfucking video is 52 minutes. 52 minutes, man, and y'all know damn well y'all don't need closed captioning. They got you.
I already joined his Patreon today. Tons of great stuff on there, actually. But did you really have to blow up the city?
Yes.
Blew up the domino. You blew up the domino, and you're laughing. Do you realize the f***ing price is here?
And you will be next. Unless you subscribe, like the video, and turn on notifications right now.
Or else what? You'll aggressively scream another man's name for several hours?
Kakarot! Kakarot!
striving so desperately to fight for has finally come down to this. While I have no doubt that the Grand Minister has a plan in putting an end to Raijin's rampage, I'm afraid that if we don't go and give it our all during these final moments against Raijin, then I have no doubt that he will ultimately destroy everything as we know it, including himself, if it means winning him the day by wiping out all of us within the process as well.
As the final chapter within the story of the Dark Masters now officially continues following the initial battle involving both Berserker Raijin having to take on the Omni Grand Minister within the Demon Realm, as with the others having to quickly strategize and regrouping by understanding the grave nature that Raijin does pose, with Vegeta having to take initiative by attacking and strategizing for a plan to further destroy Raijin, was when all of our heroes collectively had gathered together in formulating this plan, with Vegeta quickly having to then continue. Now listen, everything that we have been fighting to protect is all going to come down to these final moments in this war against that demon up there, as I will go and do what I can in giving it all that I have by using the soul shackling paralysis technique in hopes of having it go and work by slowing that monster down during his battle with the Grand Minister. But just in case if that doesn't work, then don't try to go and paint the target on your backs by attempting to go and use anything less than your full power against him for just a moment, because every second is going to count as we are going to need it. With Kibi then having to quickly chime in, then we will go and do what we can, but whatever happens, no matter, we cannot under any circumstance allow for Raijin to go and evolve himself even further than where he currently stands right now, Kibi continues. And so while you go and try to distract him from below, the rest of us will go and try to get up close and personal with him in the meantime, with Vegeta responding, well, the two of you ought to go and try to make this quick then, because I can only continue to do this for as long as my body lets me. And so if the two of you plan on going and taking action here against him, then you better go and hurry and do it right now, with Kibi responding. Then while it is to go and attack Raijin from below, Kibi says, let's go and hurry so that we can go and try to draw Raijin's attention away from the Grand Minister, in order for us to go and try to create a distraction for the Grand Minister to go and perhaps capitalize on, to which as Goku and Kibi were then shown having to make their move, was when Goku then went on to quickly respond. Right then, and so let's hurry and go and attack him now while Vegeta goes and concentrates on his technique here from below, Goku says. Which in those very moments now, as Raijin was shown having to Omni Grand Priest Kibi and Vegeta's attack were now starting to rapidly make their way ever so closer towards him, was when Raijin went on to address the Grand Priest by responding, you thought wrong if you had assumed that I was going to claim that you were going to go and do here, Angel. What is this cursed attack of yours that you have blindsided me by using, Priest? No, this doesn't appear to be coming from you, as this here appears to be coming from the others. To which as Goku and Kibi were making their way ever so closer to Raijin, was when Kibi then went on to quickly shout, look, he's trapped him, but we only have mere seconds, and so let's go and attack him now by using everything that we have. Hurry it up, because I cannot go and hold him together like this for much longer, and so you will need to go and just try to go and give it all that you have and blindside him right now. But it was only within these very moments now, with Berserker Raijin then being shown having to free himself by elbowing both Kibi and Goku in the stomach, was when Raijin then went on to respond, oh no, you little worms, don't. So just because I have left you all alone for the time being while having to go and focus on far more important matters at the moment, doesn't mean that I will go and continue to allow for your actions to be carried out here against me either, Raijin says, because the very second that I am through and having to finally destroy your angelic savior, for you only following his eradication shortly after, and doing what I had nearly accomplished prior to his arrival just moments before he had went and came here to save you mortals. Well, if that is what your intended goal here between us is going to be, then you aren't doing a good enough job. I aren't winning here against me, demon. Oh, this is just insane, as even the power of his very own realm doesn't seem to be effective enough to permanently slow that bastard down. But while my energy is nearly depleted from the strain that I continue to go and place on myself, Vegeta continues, I must go and continue to keep on trying, because there is bound to be some moment in between the instant when he least expects for it to happen. To which as the Omni Priest was shown having to fight Raijin off was when the Grand Priest then went on to respond, "Your resilience is surprisingly commendable for a warrior of your corrupted and abominable stature, but understand that while you are the first living creature outside of Grand Zeno himself to actively engage and challenge my current level of power, make no mistake about the fact that I am still, even when having to attack you right now, within this very moment, far stronger than you could ever even dream of wanting to be, Defiler. Why, I'll find a way to bypass you if it's the last thing that I do, and make no mistake about the fact that I most definitely will, you miserable
I ain't worried about you at all, fuck,
you
nigga.
won't go and kill me that
It's like
easily,
that for
and
you.
you know it, Angel. So do you still believe that you have what it takes to go and
I just been
outlast me
fucking with you, put me, so he ain't even ready to part this dude. He just beating the shit out of him.
couldn't have come from Myrno's access
Yep.
memories, being that I would know better since I was the one who had originally trained him, and so now which one is it? But then, it was only from out of nowhere now, back down below, as full-powered Rohan and Orange Piccolo were shown in having to do what they could in order to go and draw Raijin's attention away from the Grand Minister, so that way the Grand Priest can actually destroy Raijin by detecting the anomaly, was when Orange Piccolo and Rohan had continued their rapid fire against Raijin by then responding, "We've got to go and keep firing at that monster no matter how much of our power it's going to take, and unless we can go and penetrate his focus and giving the Grand Minister the small pocket of time that he would need to locate and destroy that corrupted infestation that is festering from within that beast, then we've got no other choice than to go and continue our pursuit in attempting to defeat this demon before he is given a chance to go and do anything that will change that." But then, it was only just within these very moments now with Raijin being shown having to exert even more of his ferocious power onto the surface with everyone else having to oversee this, was when Beerus went on to then quickly chime in, "Incredible, what an unbelievable display of power, and unless this freak plans to try and blow himself up now, then I want for him to just simply know that I'm not going down here without a fight. Now wait just a moment, for it would be wise for you to go and remain below with Vegeta, since he appears to be losing a tremendous amount of power by siphoning off the Demon Realm's energy in attempts to go and use it against Raijin. But I also want for you to go and look closely, Lord Beerus. Are you able to go and see it too, Whis questions? For it would seem as though the demon is beginning to rapidly destabilize from within, while simultaneously attempting to balance both residing natures, which includes his very own, a demon's and Myrno's a former angel, and so because of this, it is almost like a game of tug of war that Raijin is trying to wage in order to go and balance himself out up there. And while I'm already sure that the Grand Minister is currently attempting to pinpoint the precise location within the demon's body and figuring out on where exactly Raijin happens to be concealing the source of his powers from Whis Hads, I will need for both yourself along with a few of the others to remain down here alongside with me while we go and continue to aid Vegeta and the others, so that way the Grand Minister can go and finish this battle in one piece. You miserable mortals have stood in my way for as long as I can continue to go and tolerate, and so now away with you all once and for all." But then, it was only just upon with the Grand Priest being shown having to completely redirect Raijin's attack right back at him was when the Grand Priest then went on to quickly respond, "Your battle here is with me and me alone, no matter how badly you wish to go and try to cast the others down in spite of facing your end here, Raijin. And just who do you think you're talking to like that, you lapdog? For you don't scare me with your empty and worthless little threat."
Worthless. Damn. That's straight disrespectful. Then he wonder why he getting parts. Definitely ready for the next project.
Between us, demon, or am I simply getting lucky out here against you with my power being an illusion when comparing it directly to yours? And so now which one is it? And unless of course you go and wish to willingly instead surrender yourself on over, then I think referring to my message of justice and having it just be empty threats couldn't be any further from the truth, now is it? I'd rather die than to ever willingly submit myself to your authority, Grand Minister! But it was only just then within these very moments now with the Omni Grand Priest being shown having to unleash a gigantic attack of his own to counter Raijin's was when the Omni Grand Priest went on to then quickly respond, "Try as you might, but this struggle that you continue to go and wage in hopes of finally having to go and get rid of me in order for you to go and proceed with your plans in relocating the Omniverse will fail. And that is simply because without Myrno's power, you would have perished here, man," with Raijin responding, "Then watch me as I go and use your fallen angel's powers to shred both you and your allies with one single blow." Raijin single attack here is going to have any major effect on you, I'll still need to go and hurry and try so that we could go and keep your attention long enough in order for the Grand Minister to destroy you, to which Asgo...
This fucked up part right here, because he just U-turns in his attack. He's like, let me charge up this Kamehameha, which is the frame we was in over here. Because, you know, you got to know how to read manga for those who don't. But for those who don't, I ain't usually explaining that to you. Morning, Sue. How you doing? Y'all know to go check out the Bud Files. Appreciate them for stopping by. But, you know, like I said, he just turned it around. Like, here it is coming at him, and there it is going back at you, Goku. So, yeah. Hurry up and charge that up.
was then shown quickly having to fire his Kamehameha was when Raijin went on to turn on over by responding, "Oh, and what now? Oh, it's you again, you pathetic Saiyan. When will any of you come to learn the truth that no matter how many times you and Raijin says upon redirecting Goku's attack right back at him, it'll ultimately come to backfire on you all, and so now stand aside and get out of my way, son Goku." But fortunately enough for Goku, his full-powered Rohan had gone as far as to see this by quickly being shown intervening and pushing Goku out of the way before his own attack had gone as far as to make contact with him. Rohan then went on to quickly shout, Goku, you don't have enough energy to go and try to challenge that, and so be careful. With Raijin then having to address the Grand Priest by responding, "You can go and continue to deny my destiny as much as you'd like, but understand that I won't be going quietly into the abyss because it'll be you who will be going there first, Angel. And once I finally go and evolve into reaching my ultimate level of power, if I don't already decide to go and blow myself up before that, then the destruction of the divine will start with you as I move on to those Omni Rats shortly after, and then for me to go and find and devour the rest of the Omniverse right along with it." With the Omni Grand Priest responding, "Over my dead body you will, Defiler, but while I must admit that you are actually far more powerful than could have ever have hoped to become before his destruction, you are beginning to play an extremely dangerous game here with me if you honestly believe that I would be going all out and using all of my power this early on into our battle, when that contingent alone couldn't be further from the truth, and so now watch closely and believe me, demon." To which, of course, the Grand Priest actually did in fact mean business, because as the Grand Priest had gone as far as to push his own attack directly down into Raijin's and having both attacks now directly be shown having to collide into him, was when Goku then went on to address Rohan by responding, "Rohan, listen to me. I have an idea, but we'll need to go and grab that other demon Zaru while the others coordinate their strategy on the other side. And since we don't have any other choice here, we'll need to go and move in quickly if we hope for this to work, okay?" With Vegeta having to then also chime in, "This is just insane. Damn it, hold your ground and don't give way to the force of that explosion here, because we are still not done with him here, demon." With the Grand Priest then having to acknowledge the events below by then saying to himself, he's starting to crack under the pressure, which I knew was bound to already go and happen, but the anomaly still festers somewhere deep inside of him, and so time is of the essence. And while I am more than certain to go and locate and destroy this festering anomaly before he is either to go and combust it into an explosion or use it to undergo some kind of a transformation, one thing that I do know is that it must be destroyed a matter of time. To which, as Berserker Raijin was trying to keep himself together, it was only just as Raijin was beginning to slowly lose his mind upon having to try to keep himself together was when Raijin then went on to quickly respond, "I can't allow for myself to go and give in, because the mission isn't over, and it won't be over until I have made sure to go and bury that angelic nuisance with my own two hands. But my focus continues to shift as my power continues to boil, but I can't let my power go and boil over, as there is still much for me to go and do that requires for my next transformation to become a success, as I will still need about 5 more minutes before I could go and reach down into acquiring my next great evolution, and so I can't go and allow for myself to undergo this process prematurely, and otherwise it'll result in some kind of an adverse mutation." With the Grand Priest then responding, "Now I just knew that you were going to go and fall apart on yourself sooner or later here against me, but I didn't think that it was actually going to happen this soon, the Grand Priest says, or now did I? Hard to tell, Defiler, because you don't seem to be looking too good down there, as I can only begin to imagine now as to why that is, to which as Raijin was then shown dashing upwards towards the Grand Priest was when Raijin then went on to quickly respond, well, wonder not for much longer, Priest, because not only will I grind you into the mud below where you rightfully belong, but it'll be done by using a power that will be just as equally powerful as the one in which you are currently wielding here against me right now, Priest. And so now hold still and quit running away, with the Grand Priest responding, such strong words from a voice that is projectfully theirs is quite ironic here, don't you think, Demon, the Grand Priest says? Because even with Murnau's former glory, along with his techniques and his memories coursing through that very body and having you come...
He said, if I recall right, you are now borrowing power from somebody that once came at you that I had sent at you. So I understand that, you know, you at least was respectful by yourself out here. But you stole you some power for yourself. And that's that bullshit. You see what I'm saying? The Grand Priest is like, I'm gonna have the 106 and park your shit.
Find them alongside your very own power that simply refuses to be conquered, Demon, with Raijin quickly responding, don't you dare grow to become so arrogant here and thinking that you have beaten me just yet, Grand Minister. Because if you truly do intend on having to go and take me down once and for all, Raijin continues, not going down without having to go and take a giant piece of you down into the fire along with me. With the Grand Priest then responding, well, it looks like I may have struck a nerve with that one, but while your amalgamated level of power has placed you within a league that is central to your very cause, the Grand Priest says, as you enact these efforts of yours to go and try to rid me from this equation of yours so that you may go and succeed in your mission without any setbacks, you will ultimately come to find out that my level of power, on the other hand, places me within a league that you could only ever dream of reaching, Defiler. As my demonstration of strength here against you should be all but evident enough if you haven't already noticed by now, wretched accuser, with Raijin responding, oh, you're good. Far better than I ever could have imagined for you to ever be, but I just knew that going and taking you down wasn't going to be as easy as one would have imagined for it to go and be, Raijin says, but none of that matters anymore now, does it? Yes, I assumed so, because pretty soon, no matter how badly you want to go and claim to simply want to gauge your potential against my own, along with having to go and make me try to answer for my many so-called crimes against the cosmos, Raijin continues, it'll be you who will fall while I will be the last one standing here to remain here between us, Grand Minister. As you and I both know for this to go and be true, and so don't even go and try to deny it, Raijin adds, because none of it will matter by the time that this is all finally over here between us. And so while I can now fully come to finally understand that waiting to evolve in order for me to go and finally destroy you isn't going to come quick enough, since I'm growing very angry at just simply having to look at you, let alone in having to go and hereby even have to go and deal with you. And so instead, Raijin went on to raise his arm by continuing, and instead of running the risk of having you go and ruin my plans like how you once did before, I am simply going to go and pour everything that I am made of into my next attack, as this will not only go as far as to ensure everyone's destruction, including by wiping out this entire realm alongside the rest of you, but even if you somehow were to go and manage to survive this, then you will never go and be the same after it makes contact if it's the last thing that but then, it was only surprisingly enough now from out of nowhere behind Raijin as the demon Kibi went on to grab his arm and preventing Raijin from destroying the demon realm was when Kibi went on to then quickly respond, no, you will not, as I cannot go and allow for you to proceed to destroy us all, especially not after having those who have once served you ultimately come to realize that everything that you went and promised us was all built upon a baseless lie from the very beginning, Raijin, with Raijin then being shown having to quickly elbow Kibi in the stomach by then responding, as if any of your lives would matter more to me than my very own purpose in this world is simply delusional for either one of you to go and believe, for you have all went and had turned your backs on the very same abyss that
dumb
once
shit.
given
That
you
where
all
you
purpose,
from
Raijin
shit.
continues, for you have
Right
lent and
around your
untraded
hood all
eternity
day
within
with
my
gun
shadows
shit.
for a fleeting illusion of acceptance from these creatures, and because you are the root cause in having to go and turn my very own army here against me, Raijin says. Your death will be in what will set the example by showing all those who will ever go and try to dare to stand up to me again like how you and the others had tried doing. And having this here be what will await for them if they go as far as to even try, Raijin continues upon being shown having to punch right through Kibi. Then so now let this hereby now set the example moving forward, you traitorous little vermin. Then so now hear my words when I say, do not ever go and mistake my patience here for mercy either, Kibi. Because no matter how many times you would have went and tried, and no matter how hard you would have fought to ensure my destruction during this battle, the end result of your failures would have all ended the same, regardless of who it was you would have ended up in having to side with, Kibi. But then, it was only through his sheer resiliency alone as Kibi went on to go as far as to paralyze Raijin momentarily by executing one of his final moves against him, was when Kibi went on to then quickly respond. And that is where you are wrong, because take my life if you will, but understand that your life will soon be taken away from you as well, as you will completely come to fail in your mission, just like it was when you had failed once before. Go away with you, you traitorous, backstabbing little vermin, you and your annoying little magic tricks, Raijin says, for they will go and get you nowhere here against me, no matter how many times you go and attempt to try and paralyze me. But then, it was yet again now from out of nowhere with Raijin being shown having to be struck by another energy attack and being frozen within his place momentarily, was when Raijin then went on to quickly respond. Curse those of you who dare to go against me. Oh, it's that saying again. Why you? But how is he still not dead yet down there? And just where is that worm getting all of this extra power from? Wait, no, now I see it. Now I see their pesky little strategy. For I should have known. Raijin then went on to spot Orange, Piccolo, and Beerus having to assist Vegeta in continuously using these attacks against him. The others are helping fuel Vegeta's attacks by empowering his siphoning resistance. And so now just you rodents wait until the moment that I am able to go and break free from this, because once I am freed, Raijin continues, I am going to wait for you again, Goku. Here we go, and so just remember what it is that I said and stick to the plan no matter what, Goku then went on to quickly shout. And so now let's go and show that monster what the power behind our teamwork here against him is truly made of, and so now's our chance! Which it was only just then within these very moments now with the Elite Demon Zaru, Brohan, and Max Ultra attempting to try to blast Raijin here once and for all, was when Goku went on to then further motivate the others during their struggle by responding, ouch, don't give that monster an inch no matter how badly he tries to overtake that we have within our hearts and souls to finish this battle once and for all while we still can! Which it was only finally now back down below with the Grand Priest finally now being able to locate the anomaly within Raijin's body by formulating his arrow of destiny right before having to attack Raijin, was when the Grand Priest went on to then quickly respond. And there it finally is, as I can now sense a clear enough pathway into determining where this imbalance of Raijin's is currently located within, as I cannot go and allow for whatever these sinister plans of yours were going to be carried out here under any circumstance, because while I vow to ensure that you are to feel every bit of the pain and suffering that you had brought onto so many others for you to go and experience firsthand as a sign of things to come, the Grand Priest says, through the power of my heavenly arrow of destiny, let the darkness that you have casted down be forever overpowered by the light, the Grand Minister shouts, and for all of the destruction that you have caused across the multiverse through your wicked actions, including by those who were given their orders by you directly in order for them to go and act upon, the Grand Priest says, your parasitic reign of terror across the cosmos ends here with me. To which it was only within this very moment now, as a massive explosion was then having to be shown across the cosmos of the Demon Realm, with everyone having to oversee this, was when Whis went on to then quickly respond. That was a very close call just now, but do try and relax yourself in the meantime here, Goku. For this brief moment here between us was exactly what we had been hoping would come to us, Whis adds. And so well done on your collective efforts in doing what you needed in order to go and disorient him out there, with Goku then quickly responding, hey, wait a minute, look. His power is starting to drop at an extremely rapid level out here, and so does that mean that the plan had worked, with Whis responding? Now, while the situation still remains very unclear since Raijin is currently still alive, I will, however, confidently say with absolute certainty, on the other hand, that this ancient war that Raijin had originally started a very long time ago will no longer be given its legs in allowing for it to continue to stand in direct opposition to any of us any longer, as I do now believe that what we are about to witness take place down there will be nothing short of spectacular as we await for it to go and happen, Goku. To which it was only within these very moments now, back down below, with Raijin being shown struggling to even make it back up by standing on his 2 feet and having to acknowledge a decrease in his power, was when Raijin then went on to quickly respond.
And just what kind of wicked sorcery is this? What have you done to my body just now that it's causing me this much pain? No, the amalgamated seed of my next great evolution is no longer present within my body, which means that it's gone, Raijin says, but I was so close. I had it. I was right there and nearly having my plan be completed, and you ruined it all once again.
Took the motherfucker's happy ending.
No matter how badly you
Imagine
may
that.
claim to leverage yourself here over me during this battle, I won't have you go inside. What did you do? You low-down, conniving little coward!
To address Zaru by asking, is this another one of his dirty tricks that he's plotting down there in secret, or could this actually be a sign that something is bound to change within our favor, now that his power appears to be rapidly decreasing, with the Elite Demon Zaru then having to acknowledge this by responding, well, I'm not quite sure, but from what it appears to look like, it would seem as though he's starting to slowly change down there, but I wouldn't want to go and rule Raijin down and out so prematurely just yet here either. Those of us who know him are already well aware that he isn't one to just going back down without putting up a fight here first, but while I can't go and say for certain on what is about to go and transpire down there, we're sure, however, then I would like to go and believe that this will be as far as Raijin will be able to go, as it doesn't look as though he will be able to have the strength to continue this battle, which could only go as far as to mean one thing now that we are able to go and see it, with Beerus then having to acknowledge this overall situation by responding, he's vomiting some kind of strange plasma out of his body, but just what exactly does this mean if he is still somehow alive after having to go and sustain all of that just now, with base Vegeta being shown having to breathe heavily by responding, well, I don't know, but look, his power, it appears to be decreasing at an alarming level, and with his body now beginning to change yet again, that must mean that it worked. To which it was only just as with the Omni Grand Priest now being shown having to acknowledge and respond to Raijin was when the Grand Priest then went on to quickly add, and there it is, the rupture and fracture point that I had been waiting for, as I just knew that from the very moment you had went and merged your power with Murno's fallen essence, that your union was going to be unsustainable and crack under the weight of the enormous pressure that it would go and add onto both your soul and your body, and now that I have finally ripped that very foundation away from you, and now that your connection and combining your power along with your nature with Murno's former glory is now over, you are hereby now reduced in being nothing more than a broken figure and the hollow failure of who you thought you were, a demon, a deluded tyrant who believed himself and being a worm around on the ground like the worm that you have always been, Raijin, and yet, what terrifies you more than defeat is that I was never going to end your life as quickly as you assumed that I would, for I was never going to go and grant you the honor of a swift and painless death until I had went and made you pay for each and every single crime against the gods that you have committed, as you were never meant to go and rule over this reality, let alone in having to dare be trusted to ever have another chance to go and try to take it from us like how you tried ever again. And since you have failed to succeed in completing your ultimate mission here against us, the Omni Grand Priest continues, the time of your final and ultimate destruction has at long last finally arrived, Defiler, to which as a weakened and very agitated Raijin went on to overhear this was when Raijin then went on to quickly respond, no, but how? How can I have allowed
about to go and let this happen for a second time when I had them all exactly where I needed for them all to be. For this wasn't supposed to be on how things were supposed to end down here. Oh, is it because if I had known that this disaster would be coming to me in advance, then this total collapse of my ultimate plan would have already been long avoided before it could have been acted upon. And so how was I not wise enough to know that this would be a possibility when everything had been going exactly as I intended for it to go since the very beginning? As I am no match for either of these creatures in my current state, and because I am unable to go and contend against either of these wretched vermin here, this only now begins to reinforce the idea that I must go and try to find a way to escape before it's too late, a weakened Raijin says. And to think that I, the great and mighty dark god of the demon realm, could go and be made into such a fool so effortlessly by the hands of such creatures just makes me utterly sick to my stomach to even go and think about. But I mustn't go and let this be my end, for I must hurry and go and find a way to make my escape before they are to go and take any further action here against me, because I won't go and be given another chance to go and do so if I don't attempt to take this moment to try and escape right now while I still can. But with the prime of my power having to now be ripped away from me while having to leave me unable to contend against this angel the way I am, he will undoubtedly go and surely stop me before I could go and try anything against him, which is why I will have to go and hurry and think of something fast here, as I fear that he will follow through in having to destroy what's left of me, unless I am to go and somehow blindside them all and taking this moment to succeed in my great escape here against them. With the Grand Priest then responding, now go and ponder on your failures as much as you would like, for you could never go and change the outcome of what is about to go and happen to you, as your judgment hereby now finally stands before you, whether you want to go and accept your fate for all that you have done in having you pay for your actions against the multiverse here or not, Defiler. Why you? Wait a minute, but can it really be? But of course, Raijin says, for there appears to be some kind of a portal that has just formed from out of nowhere above him, and so I have to go and take this moment to go and try to make my escape while I still have the energy to go and do it, Raijin adds.
Now he's trying to run, see?
My only chance to go and find a way to change things, Raijin shouts upon being shown heading towards that very portal, as wherever this may go and take me, may it go and be as far away from these creatures as it could possibly go and bring me, while I go and reassemble my new army and grand plan and having to go and take revenge at a later time. But the Grand Priest, however, was not having any of it, because before Raijin could even go as far as to enter through this portal, as several chains were then shown having to appear from below it and wrapping themselves by binding Raijin, was when the Grand Priest went on to then quickly respond, maybe I didn't go and make myself clear enough to you the first time around, but perhaps you truly aren't one for hearing such words, Raijin, but would ultimately rather be addressed with action in its place, the Grand Priest adds. So while you may go and try to attempt to flee, and knowing that you are truly powerless to escape what is about to happen to you, it would be a grave mistake to go and allow for a creature as vile as yourself to be let loose in knowing what you are capable of in achieving, which is why I cannot go and allow you to leave so as long as we stand here before your very presence here, demon, with Raijin responding, no, damn it, no, what is this chain that you have casted onto me which binds me, priest? And what do you mean by we when you are the only one who stands within my way, angel? With the Omni Grand Priest then responding, you should perhaps go and take another look at the very portal it was that you were trying to go and escape from, because it would rather appear as though I am not the only one here whom you will have to go and worry about, Raijin. To which it was only shockingly enough now to Raijin's horror, with both of the Omni Kings being shown exiting out of that very portal to go and confront Raijin, was when the present Omni King then went on to quickly respond, going somewhere? Hey, come to think of it, now I remember you. Yeah, as I never really liked you after overhearing something about the things that you had tried to go and pull against us before you were locked away. But since we are rather now finally face to face here against one another, we just wanted to go and let you know, the future Omni King says, that not only are you going to suffer painfully for your actions in wishing to go and do away with the two of us alongside the Grand Minister, but it's because you had attempted to go and tamper with the Omniverse as well, is where this will finally go and be, where you will go and hear
hereby witness your final moments here between us, demon. As all of this had now looked as though it was seemingly about to come to an end for Raijin, because with the Omni Grand Priest now being shown having to execute the annihilation technique before having to address Raijin, was when the Grand Priest then went on to quickly respond, "This tribalism of yours, along with the troublesome urge that you have to go and conquer every corner of reality by entering into the Omniverse, will never live to go and dream in having to see another day past this one ever again. And as for your actions against all life across this multiverse, including the very gods who watch over them, may you at long last finally be destroyed, never to return for as long as history demands for it ever again, demon." To which it was only just upon with Raijin now being shown having to be erased from below as the Omni King stood before Raijin, before having to be shown having to go and erase Raijin themselves, was when the future Omni King then went on to add, "You know, you should have already went and known that this was bound to happen, but none of that matters anymore because we will never be seeing you after this point here ever again." With the present Omni King chiming in, "That's right, and while you also went as far as to ruin our game of hide and seek with the Grand Minister before you went and made it your mission to go and try to separate us the way you did, now it's time for us to go and do unto you exactly what it was that we had went and did to that fallen angel when you tried merging your powers with named Murno. And so now, bye-bye forever, evil demon, Omni Annihilation."
He said, "Don't worry, Marno, we're gonna send you a big homie." You see what I'm saying? He's an old school player hater from the Himalayas.
The terrified Raijin then having to quickly shout,
Oh shit.
But how could this come to me? How could I have been so reckless to not see this as having to be a possibility? Oh, damn you! Damn all of you into the pits of the abyss for what you have done! For you may have went and severed my existence, but my spirit will continue to go and live on within the shadows of your deepest, darkest nightmares, because sooner or later you will all be found, and once you are all found, will you only then all be destroyed forever?
As finally at long last this had now appeared to be it, because with Raijin now having to be successfully destroyed courtesy of the Omni Kings and the Grand Minister, was when the future Omni King then went on to respond, "Now what exactly was that demon babbling about just now, because his constant yelling was starting to really annoy me, and so good riddance with him for good this time." With the present Omni King responding, "Yeah, well, I don't really know on what he went on to babble about just now either, but now that our biggest problem has finally been taken care of, let's go and talk with the Grand Minister to see if he would like to go and resume our hide and seek game from earlier, future me." And so at long last, it is now done, the Grand Priest went on to acknowledge by staring up in the sky by responding, "As our battle to save the multiverse has once again went and brought us ever so closer towards uniting us as one by standing in solidarity, all in the name of a common cause. And while I expect for this to be the last time that a scenario like this is to unfold in the ways in which it just was," the Grand Priest continues, "I am glad to see that victory had stood alongside the good as we ensure to rebuild and move forward from such nightmares into bigger and brighter pastures." To which it was only just upon this very moment now back down below with Gohan and Broly now having to be shown separating from their previous fusion, was when Piccolo went on to acknowledge Gohan by responding, "Well, it's about damn time that this war against these monsters had finally come to an end, and so good riddance. But speaking of, the two of you did really well together out there, as I couldn't be any more proud in having to stand by your side, especially with you here, Gohan. And so how are you feeling?" With Gohan responding, "Well, I can't really say that I feel great or anything because of how intense that battle against those demons were, but I sure am glad to see that this is all over with so that we can finally all go back home, Piccolo." To which, as Whis was then shown having to address Goku, was when Whis went on to then quickly respond, "Well done now, Goku, all of you, as I couldn't be any more proud to have seen this battle through with you all until the very end." With Goku being shown having to turn around by laughing and responding, "Thanks, Whis, but if it honestly wasn't for your aid against Raijin here, along with having you go and heal us when we needed it the most," Goku says, "then I have no doubt that we all would have been goners by now," Goku says. "And although I will say that fighting Raijin felt far more brutal than how it was when we faced off against that brother Murno of yours when we did, as the situation had seemed to have been hopeless for all of us before the Grand Minister had arrived and having to go and save us, but, well, truthfully, I don't even really know on how he went and managed to go and pull that off just now, but nevertheless, from what it was that I had seen happen here today," Goku says upon glancing over at Kibi, "and for what it's worth, despite him having the two of us start off on the wrong foot while I was kept locked away within that chamber while down here upon having to first come here, Goku says. We truly wouldn't have been able to go and do what we just did and having to get through this entire mess without you, Kibi. To which it was only shortly after, with all of our heroes now being shown having to gather together and reassembling themselves just prior to being shown having to take their leave within the Demon Realm, was when Goku then went on to continue. Boy, am I glad that all of this is finally over and done with here, because I was starting to get a little nervous out there before the Grand Minister had arrived. But speaking of, actually, are we all headed back to the Grand Minister, with the Grand Priest responding? Well, if you would excuse me for just a moment, as I wish to go and speak with this demon here in regards to what had happened here today, the Grand Priest says, to which as Kibi was then shown having to address Zaru, was when Kibi then went on to respond, thank you for having my back out there and for coming to realize that I was telling you the truth behind what it was that I had learned out here, Zaru, but if you would only just go and give me a second, as I would like to go and say my goodbyes to the others before they leave, with Zaru responding, we'll go and draw the line and call it even here between us, and so now go and do what you have to while I go and check on the other demons, so that way we can go and start rebuilding down here in the meantime, Zaru says. To which it was only just within these moments, as Zaru was then shown having to step away with Kibi being shown bowing to the Grand Priest, was when Kibi went on to then quickly respond, Venerable Grand Minister, for I can't go on to thank you enough for being there for us when all hope had appeared to have been lost during our greatest struggle, as I just wanted for you to know that we couldn't have made it without you here, sire, and so thank you, with the Grand Priest responding, you know, in all of my time, never have I ever went on to see the kind of display that was put forth by yourself along with the others, as for centuries the name demon had often been spoken of with dread across the multiverse, but yet here you stand before me, a demon who chose the path of righteousness during a time when it mattered the most, for that alone is both a testament to your strength of will and your...
Let's see, in the big homie story, he's saying demon instead of Majin, but you know, it's the same thing. Demons, Majins, whatever.
Hard, which is why I am also here to thank you
Majin
and
Buu.
buying us the time that we needed to finally destroy that dreaded demon once and for
That's
all.
Majin
So because
Kiwi.
of your bravery and because of your actions that resulted in helping us bring down Raijin for good, the Grand Priest continues, since a governing figure is needed to help bring about balance within each of the 12 existing universes and the realms that flow between them, since Raijin is no longer in place of wielding the title as king, I hereby want to announce and crown you as the next great ruler and new king of the Demon Realm, Kibi. For I trust that you will go and do what it is within your means to go and maintain order and not destroy it, and so this, young warrior, is my gift to you for helping us bring down Raijin's impact and influence from across the multiverse, with the shocked Kibi responding, What? Wait, are you serious? Wait, so you're actually serious about this, aren't you? I am...
What he say? You get a job, man. Tony killed everybody at Frank's spot except for the homie and gave him a job.
completely lost for words, sire, and so all I can
Shout out to the Scarface
say is
reference.
thank
You get a job,
so much
man.
for putting such faith in me and granting me of such a high-ranking title, as I can only assure you that I will not go on to let you down here, sire. For I really don't think that you understand on how important this is to me, Kibi continues by shaking the Grand Priest's hand, because for you to go and position me as the Demon Realm's next ruling leader is something that I am more than humbled by and having to express, as I swear to you on my life that I will not go on to let you down, Grand Minister, with the Grand Priest responding, well, you are very welcome, young demon, and so I will be back here to go and check in with how you are doing soon enough, but in the meantime, the Grand Priest continues, I hereby bid you a farewell until we go and meet again to discuss things very soon, Kibi, and so do make sure to go and take care of yourself in the meantime here as well. Oh, no, you don't, and just where exactly do you think you are marching off to like that? Kakarot Vegeta went on to question as the Grand Priest was then shown making his way back towards the others, as we have other matters to go and attend to that requires our attention, and so what exactly are you up to? With Goku responding, well, I know that, but it'll only be just a second, as I wanted to go and have a few words with Kibi there before we go and head back home, and so I promise that it'll be a real quick one, so just wait for me before you all go, okay? Well, that is, I mean, if it would be okay with you, Grand Minister, Goku says, as I wanted to go and simply take a second so that I can go and address this newly appointed Demon King for doing what he did here to help us, if of course that's okay with you, as I promise that it'll be quick, with the Grand Priest responding, very well then, but try not to go and take too long in the meantime, for there is much for us to go and do, even when we get back, but you may go and proceed with your message as you would like, son Goku, to which as Goku was then shown having to address Kibi very directly was when Goku had now gone as far as to thank Kibi for all of his efforts by responding.
Goku always
Man,
gotta
you
be
were
fully
awesome
Bob.
out there in battle with us,
Hey, Grand
Kibi.
Priest, you mind if I
See,
holler at
told
the
you that
homie?
there
You
was
know, he
something
did set
about
me
you that
free
I
when
just
I was
knew
like
was different
locked
when
up
compared
down
to
here,
Raijin and those
which is
Dark
how we got
Masters,
everything
Goku
fixed, right?
says. And so I'm glad that
I hit
everything
the
is going
Xeno
to turn
button.
out for the better here, as I can't go and thank you enough for everything you've done in helping us, Kibi. With Kibi responding, well, as grateful as I am to hear you say this, you and your universe are just as responsible for helping us bring down Raijin as anyone else, Kibi says. And because of your noble actions that you have taken to ensure that our world survives along with your very own, you have saved our realm along with every living creature within it from absolute damnation, and it's because of your sacrifices that both you and your allies have made to ensure us with our lives. If it were not for your trust in me along with your resolve in seeing this war through with us until the very end, then I have no doubt that none of us would still be standing around here if it wasn't for your help here, Son Goku. And so thank you so much for choosing to do what you had done and waking me up to the reality behind what was truly going on here, Kibi continues. Along with your universe's service and making sure that we could all live to see another day after this one here today, Goku. With Goku then responding, well, it means a lot to us as we couldn't have been able to go and do this without your aid in playing your part against those monsters. But I'm glad that we can go about our lives now the way it was intended without the need for such bloodshed and destruction, Goku adds. Which I couldn't be any more proud in having you by our side throughout it all, Kibi. And so in the meantime, we'll go and be in touch, Goku continues, and try not to go and make the same mistakes that both Raijin and those Dark Masters made along the way, okay? Because honestly, I really don't think that anyone wants to go through something like that again, and so thank you for everything, Kibi. With Kibi responding, well, of course not, but you have my word nonetheless in the meantime. So come back and visit us anytime that both you and your friends would like, as we hope to go and see you all again very soon one day, Son Goku, for I appreciated having you go and see the good within me when you did. With the Grand Priest responding, and so now that our business is done here, we thank you for your service in doing what you could to not only protect all 12 mortal realms from destruction, the Grand Priest says, but for also going as far as to do what you felt was right in standing up and challenging the original demon god Raijin in battle, despite it knowing that you were simply no match for him, as I entrust that you will go and be a great leader here, as we also hope to go and see great things come from you, and so we will see as time goes on. With Goku responding, and we all actually second that, and so thanks for everything that you did that helped us along, as I'm sure that we will go and be seeing you around very soon, and for your sake, Goku says, and I hope that you'll be ready, because me and Vegeta would love to go and have a one-on-one here against you, and so take care, Kibi. With Beerus then having to chime in, well, you can go and speak for yourself here, Saiyan, but while I do commend you for your efforts and also being shown and having to stand your ground here against such a monster, Beerus continues, you have my respects for doing what you did to ensure our victory here, Demon, and so well played. To which within these very moments now, with everyone being shown having to take their leave as Kibi went on to oversee them having to now return back home and having to now comment on this, was when Kibi went on to then respond, thank you, all of you, for we wouldn't have been able to go and create the change that most of us had wanted to see if it were not for your help, Goku. And by having balance be restored, and with that monster Raijin now finally gone and gone for good, Kibi continues, I can confidently now say that we are all able to live in peace, and it's all thanks to you, Universe 7. And while I may not know on what the future holds, nor can I predict on what is about to go and happen next, Kibi adds, I can only go as far as to assure you all that the Demon Realm will be kept safe and secured under my watchful command, and while I hope that this isn't going to be some kind of a goodbye forever scenario here between us, I can only hope that you and your friends may go and come back to visit us soon, as you are all welcome to come by and say hello at any time you wish, and since there is much for us to go and do and rebuild after having Raijin nearly go and destroy everything within the process, thank you all for everything that you have done to help change things for the better here, as I one day look forward in having to see all of you again very soon. To which it was only right then and there now, during that moment, was when the final chapter in the Beyond Dragon Ball Super Story of the Dark Masters manga chapter number 57 special then comes to a close.
Well, actually, I'll go ahead and take it from here, as I do want to go as far as to address something very important with our dear viewers at the moment. As before I go and
look
give
at
you
that
the
boy's
following
fucking
information,
wigs.
if If you
Split
aren't
all the
already
fuck
a
up.
member of Unreal's Patreon community, then you are truly missing out on so much without you even knowing. Because not only is the next episode already on the page, but if you want to support all of the manga content that you see and gain access to tons of exclusives along the way that range from a variety of different things, then we do encourage for you all to become members of our Patreon community today, for we will link everything down within the description box below and pinned comment section as well. Now, I will go as far as to say that although I couldn't be any more proud in having to see us all come together as one and finally being able to put a stop to both Lord Raijin and his Dark Masters, but with balance now restored and with a new Demon King crowned and having a far more benevolent figure as its leader, the future remains hopeful for us all. So as long as there isn't anything that will stand in the way of destroying it, and while we were successful in having to stop Raijin from being able to immerse himself within the Omniverse and further having to prevent him from invading and attacking all of the other timelines and multiverses that are out there, I'm afraid that this was only just the beginning of something far larger to come that I can sense looming over the horizon. And because of this, you do not want to go and miss out on what is about to happen coming up next. So we hope that you all enjoyed today's video, and before you leave, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up by smashing that like button on your way out, as well as also subscribing to Unreal and Gaming's channel for tons of new Dragon Ball content. So with that, we thank you all so much for watching, as we'll be seeing you all again for the next one.
Hello. Did you know that you can stay up to date with the latest Dragon Ball content by simply subscribing to Unreal and Gaming?
Also, don't forget to follow on these social media platforms, you sexy son of a bitch.
Roshi.
Silent Cell, me and the fans are having a moment. That's right. I know what you want. Extra long, thick Dragon Ball content. Quality reviews with flawless editing. Yeah, you'd like that, wouldn't you? You dirty bitch.
Roshi, the fuck?
God damn it, I need them to subscribe, Cell.
And we're demonetized.
Yeah, screw it. Let's cut to the video.
You're making a big mistake. Where do you think you're going? Pity. What a waste of talent.
Gohan's childhood, right? He's like, nigga, what the hell is you doing? It's one thing to throw heads, nigga. Yeah.
Tough guy like you should be able to face that truth.
Don't make me have to step in and fuck you up. He's like, yeah, you are relatively close to being power at the moment. So Vegeta left, like, you right.
This Saturday on Twitch at 1 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/Big D Geekdom 101, we'll be giving y'all a special presentation revisiting Dragon Ball Z in HD. We've gotten to the Super Saiyan transformation episodes 93, 94, and 95. We're going to watch them in high definition with the original broadcast audio. I got tons of tidbits for y'all. Watch Dragon Ball Z with me Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern. I look forward to seeing you there. It's always a blast. So yesterday was my first video back in quite some time, and I didn't think I would be coming back with another video this soon, but there's actually some really interesting information coming out of the world of Dragon Ball that I'm excited to share with all of you. Finally, somebody from Dragon Ball is talking about what may be coming next. So first of all, before I go any further, I did do a video yesterday. If you haven't checked it out, in that video I discussed about Super Saiyan 4 and some of the stuff that was discussed in the recent Dragon Ball Daima Blu-ray box set book. It comes with a special book that has a bunch of interviews in it and character bios. Also, keep an eye out for my X and Instagram accounts, because I'll be dropping some images from that book today, so you guys can look at some of the stuff from behind the scenes that's in the book. Cool stuff, man. It's awesome to see how that show kind of came together, you know, with the artists and everything. But I talked about how, you know, Super Saiyan 4 Goku, it was confirmed that Neva's magic unlocked the form, which people were arguing that, and I guess they misunderstood when Goku said he was training for it. He was training to unlock something new, didn't know what it was. That's what he said in episode 20. But Neba's magic is the one that caused that mutation. But it was revealed also that Goku, basically he should still have access to Super Saiyan 4. Why wasn't it seen in Dragon Ball Super? Well, we know the real reasons, because Daima was made after Super. But as of right now, we have not been given an explanation as to why Goku does not use Super Saiyan 4 in Dragon Ball Super. There's obviously a lot of theories and speculation. Some think that Daima's in a different continuity. Hopefully that gets answered soon. But I want to first give credit to Enomus/Venixis, because this information is coming from him. This is from a new interview with Akio Ioku discussing the future of Dragon Ball. First of all, I want to say that I'm going to link the entire interview down below if you want to hear the entire thing. He talks about sort of how the project came together and what his job was as the liaison for it. But he does comment that there is a new Dragon Ball project that's being worked on, or at least that's coming. I don't know if it's actually being worked on yet, but they're certainly discussing things. And I'm going to get to that in just a minute here. There's two things I want to highlight from this video. So make sure you stay all the way to the end, because I'm going to go through everything for you, and by the end you'll know kind of what's going on. One of the things that they talk about here is the transformation from Super Saiyan 3 to Super Saiyan 4. Remember that awesome sequence at the end of episode 19? Some say it's the best scene in Daima, where Goku, when he's an adult, does the Super Saiyan 3, and then he goes from that to Super Saiyan 4, and it was Yuya Takahashi that animated it, and it was just awesome. It turns out that the part where Goku rips his gi off, apparently that was Toriyama's idea. So, it was so badass, man. That was like, for me, the highlight visually of Dragon Ball Daima, even though that whole Goma fight just looked crazy visually. It was wild. Daima is not perfect at all, but it definitely looked good. And in this interview, and I'm giving you the summary, because like I said, you can read the whole thing if you want to. I'll link it to you. But I'm just going to give you the cliff notes of things you might find important. He does discuss being the liaison between Toriyama and Toei, and that he was involved in a lot of this work. Now, yesterday, we also confirmed in the video I dropped that Capsule Corp Tokyo is involved in Dragon Ball. Capsule Corp Tokyo is Akio Ioku's company, and if you remember, we've been discussing here on this channel that Ioku, at the request of Toriyama, started a company so he can kind of take the reins of Dragon Ball anime and Dragon Ball video games and be involved in working on those sides of the story. Ioku used to be a huge name in Shueisha. He was an editor there, but now he has his own company with his goals being to produce more Dragon Ball like anime and games, or at least when I say anime, I don't mean like anime TV shows. I mean just stuff that's like animation that includes movies. He wants to kind of take the reins of that. And now we are actually seeing Capsule Corp Tokyo get credited in Sparking Zero. It was credited in, I believe, one of the recent Xenoverse DLCs, and in one of the, I think Dokkan he's also credited, or it might have been Legends, but he's definitely Capsule Corp Tokyo is involved now. Like this whole like behind the scenes like struggle for the rights appears to either have been resolved or is close to being resolved, because Capsule Corp Tokyo is being listed. Again, I went over that yesterday. Now, this is the part that I think people are clicking the video to see. So, Ioku was asked, this is the last question, please say a word to all the Dragon Ball fans. And Ioku says, did you enjoy watching Dragon Ball Daima? Well, some did and some didn't. It was very polarizing. Following this work, of course, we are currently working hard to move various things forward. The Dragon Ball series will continue from here on as well, so everyone, by all means, please keep looking forward to it. So he keeps telling people to be patient and wait, because there's more coming. Now, I'm going to be real, man. A lot of people are not very patient, and I can't even blame. I'm not even going to blame the fans for this, because it's not their fault. Like this, it feels like they're kind of, dragging their feet along with this, but there should be a reason, and I'm sure it'll come out eventually about what's really going on. And maybe they were still, discussing the behind the scenes thing, and maybe it got resolved earlier this year and nobody said anything. The thing you have to understand about the Japanese culture and Japanese people is that a lot of the behind the scenes, arguments and disagreements, and I guess you can call it tea, it never goes public. It's very, very rare for it to go public. I remember doing the video a couple years ago. I did a video called Where is Dragon Ball Super? Why Dragon Ball Daima? And in that video, I discussed about how Akio wanted to continue more anime projects. Shueisha said no, and that's where the Daima idea came from. When I was, talking to people about Daima, a lot of people inside were shocked that I even knew that information. I didn't know details of that. Like, I had no idea like what really was going on in details. I just knew that was a situation that where Akio wanted more anime. He was the one that was kind of leading the charge on producing more Dragon Ball. So and for better or for worse, he relies on nostalgia a lot, but it's hopefully in the future we'll get more creative stuff. But the point is that Akio himself in this interview is claiming that there's something else coming, and that they're working hard to move various things forward. Now, I don't know if that means a movie, an anime. He's not involved in the manga. That is Shueisha. So we may get an update on that later this year, or maybe early next year. I don't know. I think a lot of people think because next year is the 40th anniversary of the Dragon Ball anime. It started February 26, 1986 is when the Dragon Ball anime began. I think some people think there might be something that's going to get announced for next year, or maybe a movie or something. There was a movie rumor that I covered the rumor sometime last year, I think, like right around this time last year, but I just basically said there wasn't enough information to substantiate it, and that it should just be classified as a rumor. This could be that, but the fact that he says, I do want to clarify this, the fact that he says Dragon Ball series will continue from here on as well, he didn't say Daima, he didn't say Super. So whatever that means, he's talking about the Dragon Ball franchise as a whole. So he's not giving away if it's going to be another season of Daima, or another movie, or a Super movie or anime or special. He's not giving any of that away. He's just saying more Dragon Ball. So this is from the guy who is pretty much now in charge. You know, with the passing of Toriyama, Sasuke Toriyama is in charge of Toriyama's estate, but it's Akio that's going to be sort of the figurehead of where this series goes in the future. So at least he's commenting on that, and that might be why they haven't just straight up said that Dragon Ball's over, because I've been waiting for somebody to just come out and say, okay, with Toriyama's passing, this is done. But once again, here we have the executive producer saying we're moving things forward. When I find out what it is, or if something breaks, I'll do a video on it. I promise. You don't need to ask me, hey, is there any news or anything? Because if there is, I guarantee you I'll make a video on it like I did right now. I'm not going to leave you hanging. Anyways, y'all, let me know in the comments what you want to see next, and I'll catch y'all real soon. Take care of yourself.
Shout out to the big homie for giving me this beat. Appreciate that.
Remember me when you're far away. I always have a place for you to stay. In the garden, by the door, in the bedroom, on the floor. Remember me when you're far away. I always have a place for you to stay. In the middle of the night, I'm gonna be there till the morning light. Remember me when you're far away. I'll always have a place for you to stay. In the garden, by the door, in the bedroom, on the floor. Remember me when you're far away. I'll always have a place for you to stay. In the middle of the night, I'm gonna be there till the